Welcome to First Sports. We're talking cricket and Sanju Samson. He has sparked off all conversations once again across social media platforms, as he normally does, especially when he's picked or he's dropped. But this time, he wowed all with an impressive century, his first in one-day internationals, and it came overseas in a winning cause as India sealed the ODI series against South Africa 2-1. And I'm joined today by someone very special to talk about Sanju Samson. It isn't a cricketer or a commentator. Well, at least not a cricket commentator. Shashi Tharoor joins us here on First Sports. Thank you so much for giving us a bit of your time. Would it be fair to introduce you as Sanju Samson's biggest fan in this country?
I don't know. I would like to think so, but who knows? He's got a lot of fans in the country, and justifiably so, given his extraordinary talent and the way in which he's performed over the years. But the fact is, I've known him since he was 14, when I met him in my constituency in Thiruvananthapuram. He was this young boy who was doing amazing things in club cricket. I issued a tweet in 2009 when he was 15, saying to somebody, watch out for these two players from my constituency. The other was the elegant left-hander Rohan Prem, who was a bit older than Sanju. Rohan did go on to play the Duleep Trophy and Ranji Trophy with some success for some years. Sanju was only 15 at the time, and I said, this 15-year-old is the next Dhoni. I know this next someone is always unfair to a player, because obviously everyone is an individual, is unique and is special and so on. But he is just, he is capable of playing such amazing shots everywhere. And he really is somebody who has oodles of talent. And anyway, to cut a long story short, I really think that he would have been the next Dhoni were not for the sudden and unexpected emergence of the magnificent Rishabh Pant, which naturally derailed everybody else. And now Ishan Kishan is also in the mix. So I just feel that we have an embarrassment of riches. It's like being born as a spinner in the era of the Fabulous Four, when we had Prasanna, Chandrasekhar, Venkat and Bedi, and people of the quality of Padmakar Shivalkar and Rajinder Goyal and B.B. Kumar, 34 spinners in the Indian team. That's the sort of situation that wicketkeeper batsmen face. But in my view, Sanju has the longer track record than the others and the ability to adjust himself to all formats. It's amazing. He's the only cricketer in that entire lot with a batting average of over 50 in ODIs. And that's not a small matter. And he's done that while maintaining a strike rate of almost 100, 99.6. So he's not a small... he's not a minor figure. He's somebody who has been outstanding at various levels of the game. He holds a record, I think, in the Mushtaq Ali Trophy for a double century of 212, which, if I'm not mistaken, was the only double century when it was scored in 2019. I mean, he's just an amazing, amazing cricketer. And he's been somewhat unlucky that he's got so little to show for it in terms of appearances in India colours. Over a career that began for India in Zimbabwe in 2015. And, unfortunately, here we are 8 years later, 8.5 years later, and he's only played 20-odd T20s and 16 ODIs. So I think there has been an enormous amount of bad luck with selection as well.
Yes, safe to say we know exactly where you stand now, considering how unlucky he's been. But I want to ask you about, this moment for him. It's a massive moment. The first 100 in ODIs, an emotional moment for him because they don't come easy.
But look where he's batted for India. Most of his matches, he's been number 6. In 1 or 2 matches, number 7. You don't get to score hundreds on that level. Absolutely. Almost never. So it's the first time he was given a chance. Normally, for example, for his IPL team, he bats at 1, 2 or 3 and has done. And now they give him a chance at number 3, he scores a century. I can guarantee you he won't get another chance at number 3. That's been his career. He had this amazing series against South Africa and got dropped in the next ODI encounters we played, even though at that point he topped the batting averages and the aggregate run rate and won India a match. Nothing doing. Out he went again. So he's just been unlucky. He gets picked on tours when he's in dazzling form, and he carries the drinks throughout the series, even when one of the matches is in his home ground in Thiruvananthapuram. I mean, I don't think I can point to a cricketer who's been unluckier in terms of selection choices than Sanju Samson. Maybe it's because, he's the son of a police constable. He doesn't suck up to anybody. He just behaves with correctness and rectitude. And in our country nowadays, it looks like everybody needs to be sucked up to in cricket administration for you to get any far. It's a sad story.
But what I want to ask you, of course, because you've interacted with him ever so often. You know him really well. What is it about Sanju Samson that's most endearing to you, that has impressed you the most, or makes him stand out as a person and a cricketer?
As a person, I would say he's very quiet. In fact, there's a sense of assurance he radiates, which I think in that sense is comparable to Dhoni, in that he's always calm. I've never seen him flustered. Even when he's had a couple of failures, he says, I know what I've done wrong. I know how to correct it. I'm confident. And that sort of quiet confidence is something that's a very attractive quality in a sportsman. He's also always wanted to give, not just to take. He set up an academy in Trivandrum years ago, which I helped inaugurate. That I think I inaugurated it. And it was some years ago when he was still young enough. He had not even become, as far as I remember, Rajasthan Royals captain. But he said he was making money. He'd like to spend it helping youngsters to come up. He comes from a very poor fishing village. He was born in a place called Pulluvilla near Vizhinjam in Trivandrum. And now there's a port coming up there. And Sanju is somebody whose modesty is a very endearing quality at the personal level. I was impressed when he was offered the captaincy, because I thought it's precisely the quiet people who don't get these breaks. But his management and RR has always had faith in him, and that faith seems to have grown. I think he got two successive seasons of over 450 runs as captain. So they clearly think they made the right choice, and Sanju is very happy to be appreciated there. But at the same time, I know he'd like to be appreciated by India. And the truth is, some people are, dropped because they failed. But Sanju is the only example of a guy who's been dropped when he's failed and has also been dropped when he's succeeded. So that's the biggest ill luck. I don't think you can think of anyone else. I'm not begrudging anybody else their breaks, but many others have been given much longer run of failures, and a success has guaranteed their reselection for a few more matches, whereas in the case of Sanju, neither has held good throughout an 8-year career. And that's why I feel, as someone who's been personally sort of very proud of his success, and I've had a sort of small role to play in various aspects of his life, such as when they were not going to let him take the school leaving examinations because he'd been too busy playing cricket to attend his classes, and I was able to win a fair, justifiably fair exemption. He was playing for Kerala and for India. Exemptions could be made, and they were made for him, and that sort of stuff that I got involved in. I'd like to see him, play another, God knows, 6-7 years at the highest levels, and a lot of it should be in India blue.
That's an interesting anecdote that you shared with us, Shashi Tharoor. But you are, of course, a man of complex words. We know that. What's one such word that you would use to describe Sanju Samson?
Sanju on the field, I would probably say effervescent. This is somebody who's just sparkling, who's just, he's bubbling over. He's just amazing as a batsman. As a wicketkeeper, efficient, and as a captain, quiet but decisive. I think I've seen that in the IPL. And of course for Kerala. And by and large, his results have justified his captaincy too. And as a person, as I told you, modest, humble, and also quiet. So all of those would apply in the different forms you see captain in. But as a batsman, effervescent is the word.
Nicely put. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Shashi Tharoor, and sharing some lovely stories of Sanju Samson, the person more than the cricketer, of course. But it's been a pleasure.
Great talking to you, Rupha. All the best. Take care. Bye.